So the starting point is, what is the law of property? As the name suggests, it's the law that governs your relationship with property, so with things. What does the law say about you and your cell phone? What does the law say about you and your house, you and your car, you and your bike? All those things are property, and the law of property regulates your relationship between yourself, your things, and other people. Why is this branch of law important? Well, it's important because freedom of ownership, so the freedom to own things, actually facilitates the free circulation of goods by enabling these goods to change owners. So you own a cell phone, and the law of property allows you to either sell your cell phone in exchange for money, or to swap it for another cell phone, or to throw it away, or to give it away as a gift. So property law basically establishes the presumption that all objects and all things are freely transferable. So today we will do these 3 topics. The third topic is the most important because that's the one that's where all your questions will come from. But of course you have to understand the first 2 topics in order to understand the third topic. So the first question, what is property? According to the Dutch Civil Code, property is all things and all other property rights. So all things in this context refers to corporeal objects. Corporeal means things which you can feel, things that are physical, things that are tangible, things that you can see. So all those things are called corporeal, and corporeal things are divided into 2 subsets: immovable things and movable things. So immovable things refers to things that you cannot move. So in other words, things that are tied to the ground. For example, a house. So a house is considered to be an immovable thing, so it's immovable property. Another example is minerals that are still unmined. So all the minerals that are still in the ground are immovable property. And another example is land. So land and trees, all these things are considered to be immovable property. So basically things that are tied to the ground that you cannot easily move. And movable property, as the name suggests, are things that you can indeed move. So things that are not tied to the ground. For example, machinery. So if you have a company that works with machinery, like this digging machine, this is considered to be movable property. Also, once you dig those minerals out from the ground, then the minerals become movable property. And also, once you pick those fruits from the trees, then the fruits also become movable property. So this is really important. Remember this, because later on we will talk about how you can acquire and dispose of immovable property versus how you can acquire and dispose of movable property. All other property rights are things that are incorporeal. So incorporeal means you cannot touch them, you cannot see them, they are not physical. For example, intellectual property rights, so copyrights and trademark rights, those are considered to be incorporeal rights. Also, maybe your right to a payment, your human rights, your right to an education, those are things that are considered to be incorporeal property, because you cannot touch them, but they are still property. So now that we know what property is, we're going to learn about what a person can be with regards to property. So the most obvious thing is that you can be the owner of a thing. So you can own property. For example, everyone owns a cell phone. You are considered the owner. What is an owner? An owner is a person who has exclusive rights and authority over a thing. So because you own your cell phone, you can do whatever you want with it. You can give it away, you can sell it, you can trade it, you can step on it, you can do whatever you want. It's your thing. But of course, you have to practice your rights within reasonable limits. For example, if you own a car, you still have to follow the laws about driving. You still have to drive on the correct side of the road. You still have to indicate before you turn. So even if that property is yours, you still have to follow the laws and certain limits. Because as they say in law, your right ends where another person's right begins. The second thing that you can be with regards to property is you can be a possessor. What is a possessor? A possessor is legally a situation in which a person holds an object as if it forms his property, but actually keeping it under his control as if it belongs to him. So the mere fact that the thing is under control of a specific person is not the only important part. It's crucial too that this person has to act and present himself towards others as the owner of the thing in his power. So, yes, it's someone who has factual control of a thing. An example would be, let's say you picked up a pencil at school and you take that pencil to the reception and you say, I picked up a pencil. If someone comes to report it, then they can have it back. Then the person at reception says, okay, you can keep this pencil for now, and if no one comes to claim it, then basically you can keep it forever. So from that moment on, you become the possessor of the pencil because you have factual control over this pencil with the intention of being an owner if the real owner never comes. So in that case, you are called a possessor in good faith. Remember, we defined good faith in our first lesson. We said good faith is basically when you do something with good intentions or sincere intentions. So in this case, a possessor in good faith is someone who has factual control over something with intention to become the owner of that thing, but they do it with good intentions. And there's also a possessor in bad faith. So a possessor in bad faith is basically someone who has factual control over something and he intends to be the owner of that thing, but based on bad intentions. For example, a thief. So if someone left their cell phone in class, then you pick it up and you put it in your pocket and you go and crack the password and you wipe it clean. In that case, you are still not the owner, but you are the possessor in bad faith because you have factual control over a cell phone that does not belong to you and you intend to be the owner of that cell phone. So remember the difference between possessor in good faith and possessor in bad faith. The third thing you can be with regards to property is that you can be a detentor or a holder. So a detentor or a holder is someone who has factual control of property on behalf of someone else. So for example, if you live in a rented apartment, you are a detentor or a holder of that apartment because you have factual control over the apartment, but you are controlling it on behalf of someone else. So it is not your apartment, but you are renting it. So you have control over it on behalf of someone else. Another example of a detentor is someone who owns a warehouse. So in this example, the owner of the warehouse is the detentor of all these goods that are inside because these goods are not his, right? So he's holding these goods on behalf of the real owners. So the owner of the warehouse in this case is a detentor or a holder. He's holding property that does not belong to him, but based on a legal relationship. Now, let's say a thief came in the night, and this thief stole all the things that were inside this warehouse. What does this thief become? So the thief steals all these boxes. What does the thief become? Does he become an owner, a possessor in good faith, a possessor in bad faith, or a detentor? Okay, I hope you got the answer correct. The answer is this thief becomes a possessor in bad faith. He is not the owner because he has no ownership rights over the thing. The real owner is still the owner of the thing even after the thief has taken it away. He is not a possessor in good faith because he stole it, he did not act with good intentions. And he is not a detentor or a holder because he is holding this property without any permission to hold it. So there is no legal ground why he has this property. So the thief, therefore, becomes a possessor in bad faith. Now we move on to the methods of acquiring property. In other words, how can you acquire property? The most obvious thing is you can buy stuff. So normally you acquire stuff by buying it, but there are 10 other methods, if not more, of how you can acquire property. And these methods of acquiring property are very important for your summative exam. So I will start a new video because I only have a limit of 15 minutes on this one. So let's continue in the second video.